And rolling.
Cool.
Action. Sweet.
Hey guys, I'm Greg.
I'm Rob.
Today we're going to review some coffee from Coffee by Design in Portland, Maine.
Yeah, the company just went through a rebranding, and this is their new thing. So
this packaging is beautiful, guys. It has like art on the inside and the outside. Like you could just you could probably, after you cut down this bag or whatever, hang it on your wall.
that's what I do. Every bag of coffee I have ever consumed since getting into good coffee, I have saved the front of the bag, and it is hanging up. I have an entire wall, floor to ceiling, and then some. And then I also have some burlap bags thrown up there, and then every coffee I've ever roasted, I have the labels for those as well, like intermittent.
That's awesome.
It's pretty ridiculous. It looks super
cool though, because it like sort of showcases your journey.
It's kind of fun.
You know,
most times, I mean, if you get a cool bag, there's art that goes into it, you know?
Yeah, it's not something you just throw in the trash.
No, not everybody does. A lot of people do throw their bags in the trash.
So what we got here is Coffee by Design, Harvest Reserve. I'm assuming that's kind of like their lineup. They've got multiple lineups.
Yeah,
maybe like a blend line. And
that's their.
That's that bougie coffee.
Yeah, it's the top shelf.
Yeah,
coffees that they do.
This would be next to like some Dom Perignon or something like that on the shelf.
Yeah.
So this is a Costa Rica Doda Finca La Pastora, and it's a red honey process. So red honey, or any honey process, I'm not really go too deep, but basically it's like the natural process, but gone crazy. Instead of just milling the coffee and laying them on beds, they shade that stuff out so it can ferment further than it would if it just had direct sunlight. And of course with the yellow honey is or there's the white honey, which is the lightest. It's just barely shade, all the way to what's called black honey, where they basically put that stuff in these big boxes or barrels and let it just sit and ferment and do its thing. Red honey is kind of closer to that black honey than, say, the white or the yellow honey.
I'd really like to try some of that.
Dude, I want to get on that so bad.
I had always known about a yellow honey, but I did not know that the honey process was as elaborate as it is. So this coffee for me was a pretty good learning experience.
Yeah.
And then talking with you about it, as well as the roaster, just kind of learning more about what, it blew my mind, and I think I'm pretty well versed in coffee. And then I learned something. I'm like, dang, dude.
Dude, man, that's what I love about coffee is every time you think you know something, it just turns around. It's that's cool, but what do you think about this?
Yeah, how far can we push the coffee to get some crazy delicious taste out of it, and I think with this one too, so the notes on here, it says cherry, honey, and raisin. And when I was brewing this, so when I get a cup of coffee and I get a bag of coffee, and y'all's coffee has it too. It has the tasty notes on there. I don't distinctly look for a cherry. I don't look for raisin. I use that sort of as a mark of what it may kind of represent. So when I was going through this, I got a raisin, but not your brown raisin, a yellow raisin.
Yeah.
Something that's really sweet, and then just a nice kind of pop. There was a good amount of flavor in there. And so with that honey, I just kind of figured it was the sweetness from the raisin, and then that cherry, those cherries in the juice. What the heck are those called? The maraschino cherries, right? I think that's the word. That's what I was thinking. It just has that sweetness that reminded me of cherries in a jar. All
Just
cherries.
all the cherry. It's just got this like sweet like
Yeah.
aroma.
Even those dry notes. I mean, once it's ground, and you can really just you pick up on something that's going to be pretty special in there. Yeah.
So something that's cool about this coffee, and the way that it's being brewed, you can actually buy this equipment on our website now.
That's pretty sweet.
You can literally buy the V60. We've got some grinders and stuff like that. You go to anchorcoffeeco.com/shop.
Is this a glass?
Yeah.
So you guys have the full range. You have like the glass and the plastic ones.
Yeah, I think we got everything on there.
Cool.
Pretty much anything that we use here or that you've brought in.
Yeah. Like the cleaver brewer.
Yeah,
That's fun.
that stuff is what we got.
That's cool. That's super sweet.
Man.
So basically, anybody now can buy a sick bag of coffee, order their brewing device from your website, and then basically be the greatest home brewer ever.
Yeah, there's no excuse.
That's pretty awesome.
You know, there's no excuse.
Yeah.
Like people come in all the time. They're like, "Hey, like, where can I get this stuff?" I'm like, "Well, you can find it on Amazon." But now, like, just be like, "Hey, bro, like, it's on our website. You can get that, and you can legit have the best coffee of your life, like, at home,
Nice.
and not have to like go out and pay somebody to make it. Like, you can make it yourself." And that's one of the things that I really like about coffee and like the coffee industry, is we literally like, although cafes are like pretty much the most important part of like the coffee industry on our side of the world, you know, like that's how we get our coffee to people. Like at the same time, like being able to take this stuff home and like brew a quality cup of coffee like at home,
It's pretty clutch.
like yeah, for real.
It's seriously, it's money. Yeah.
Dude.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
This is super floral.
It's delicious.
It's got like some cool like little bit of like dark chocolate or something.
Okay.
Like, reminds me of chocolate covered cherries.
Okay.
A little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
Like right up front, like you get that like kind of cherry sweetness, and there's like this like sort of earthy, and I think it might be like the florality of the coffee because it is a honey processed coffee. Those coffees get super floral, but sometimes that like reminds me a bit of like chocolate, dark chocolate.
Yeah. And so I'm not sure. One of the fun things too about different ways of brewing. So I've been brewing this up with either a Chemex or my standard go-to right now has been the Clever. And out of the V60, it's heavier. And it's really
I think
interesting.
that's where I'm getting that more like chocolatey note. It's like it's got a pretty decent body.
Yeah, and it's a fairly light. It's a light coffee to begin with. It's a light roasted
You look
coffee.
at this; it's super light.
But it definitely has a like a fuller mouthfeel. It's just heavier, but not heavier where it's just like, oh man, I need to like put something in there to make it more palatable.
I can't finish this.
Yeah, it just means that what I'm getting is it just has a lot more depth, a lot more happening in there where it makes it more desirable.
And of course, you do this on a Chemex filter.
Oh well, I mean that's just
It's going to be super clean.
it's ridiculous.
It's going to be really really bright. You know,
It
with a V60, you're going to have a little bit more meat to it. You know.
Yeah. And you know what also is different. I came to this conclusion over the holiday. I ran out of bleached filters and was using unbleached.
Yeah.
And for me personally, I can tell the difference between a bleached and an unbleached filter.
They're totally different.
And I'll be honest, I prefer a bleached filter. I don't know why. I mean, it's not a bad cup of coffee. It's just my palate for coffee.
You've gotten so used to the bleach. It's like if you like at home, I use third wave water because like, well, for one, if I don't, like, it's garbage. Because I have like
We've had that conversation.
I have like heavy metal, like freaking Slayer playing in my well. Like it's
That's
that
awesome.
like that thick. Our water is that thick.
That's awesome.
You hear rain and blood every time I pour a
Nice.
glass of water.
I
so.
wouldn't actually mind that. Maybe like a little deicide from time to time.
Yeah.
just something to really spice it up, man. You know.
Well, it doesn't translate very well into the coffee. It's something. Gosh, that is nice.
It really is. It's a great cup. And one of the things that I can tell, so my wife, when she drinks coffee, she puts cream in it, or like a flavored creamer. So when I get a new coffee, I always brew it and give it to her and say, try this.
Mm-hmm.
And if she can tolerate the coffee without anything in it, it's a win.
Yeah.
And this particular coffee, she thoroughly enjoyed.
That's awesome.
After the second cup, she did ask if she could put something in it. Like, whatever, but
Now, as long as she's not doing that with a geisha.
no, she so that's fun too. She did drink some geisha, but only had one cup because that really was not her bag.
Yeah.
And I get that.
I get it. A lot of geisha is such a weird thing, because it has just so it's so different, you know.
It's seriously an acquired it's an acquired taste, I think, and I also wonder how much it's just so hyped up because it is so rare to get. I mean, geishas right now are not rare.
Yeah,
you have
it's just
so many
expensive.
origins.
Yeah, there's just this demand supply thing, all based on hype. And it's good coffee. It's different, and there's
really
nothing
is.
like it, you know. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I've had a Red Bourbon or a Caturra or a Catawai that is just as good.
There was a couple years ago, Anna Beatty, or Battle, however you pronounce her last name, she put out the Kilimanjaro, the Finca Kilimanjaro.
Dude,
that was
one of the best coffees I've ever
blown
had.
away by how good. And I'd say that lot. And I had two different ones. I had some from a counterculture and then a local roaster up in New York called Coffee Labs. Mm-hmm. Same coffee, same lot, roasted in two different regions, North Carolina and New York, and it was just such a beautiful, beautiful coffee.
Yeah,
it really blows.
They do it right.
I was actually really bummed that I missed. I want to say maybe it was this year's offering. I'm not sure what it was, but. I missed out on something, and that bothered me.
Yeah.
But
we had some stuff on spot that we could have bought from Ada Battle, and we tried. I tried. It was a Costa Rican. It was beautiful coffee. It tasted wonderful, but I just couldn't really. I couldn't justify the price for the flavor because it was I've had the Kilimanjaro before.
Yeah.
It was so hard to justify after having the Kilimanjaro, which is only a couple dollars more a pound green, to buy something that's $4 a pound green that's not as good as what I've had from her.
Sure.
It's man, this is great. It was the Finca California or something like that.
Okay.
Which, speaking of, have you heard about the California coffee?
No.
Blue Bottle did a coffee called the California Coffee, and guess what? It's grown in California, and they were selling it for $18 a cup.
Green or roasted?
Roasted.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And it's grown in California?
Grown in California by these people, this cooperative called Fringe, because they're on the fringe of. There's one mountain that coffee can grow. It's in Santa Barbara or something like that, and they're doing it, and they're doing it right. And apparently, it's the bomb.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So,
it's expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, labor in the U.S. is kind of wicked expensive. It ain't down in Central or South America.
So is that going to imply that Hawaii is not going to be the only state now that?
I think that's the thing. I think that's real now. That's just crazy.
So I've heard, and I don't know this for a fact, but I've heard that here in the high country, our conditions minus the winter are ideal for growing coffee.
Yeah.
Except it's really cold.
If we had some more humidity, some more tropical humidity, and we had a slightly warmer climate, more consistent climate, we can grow the mess out of some coffee.
We should set up a giant greenhouse in my yard. I have a lot of land, and
Dude.
I'm up on a mountain.
Wilkes County Coffee Collective.
We should do it, dude. It'd also be a really great excuse to get some like donkeys and goats. Just to have chilling in my
You
yard.
could probably get like some serious tax write-offs, and like people would
Probably.
pay you to do research.
I
Like
would be okay with
they'd be
that.
like, hey, like I want to like research on your land.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that. I mean,
Heck yeah.
I've tried growing coffee from green coffee. If you
Yeah.
soak it and it gets the little tail. I've tried doing that. I mean, for many years, and I've never been successful with getting.
Yeah,
It's so hard.
You have to be like kind of a god at growing things. You got to be like not just a green thumb, but like
It's a lot harder than I.
coat of many colors thumb. You got to be able to like really manage that.
It's crazy. I honestly thought it was going to be a lot easier than what it is, but it's not. So that's a fun fact.
Well, dude, this coffee was awesome. Thanks for bringing it by.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked about it, dude.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
very tasty. I would put this up against anybody and everybody because it's awesome.
Yeah. So they do have a really extensive list of coffees. So for anybody that's looking to get coffee in New England,
Yeah.
CBD's website, Coffee by Design, they have a lot of offerings of their coffees. So yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Well, dude,
Cool.
thanks for having us, y'all.
Yeah, man. Pretty stoked about this.